Okay, thanks, Ross. Good to see everybody. I know everybody's excited, just like we are, that it's game week and get a chance to get back into game mode around here. But everybody's ready to kick it off. Excited to see our guys go play and compete, see where we are and see where we go from there. But it's been a good camp, had good preparation. I think we've got a committed team. I've enjoyed these last several weeks, just being with these guys, the leadership, their attitude, again, the work ethic. It's been a lot of fun to prepare. For the most part, we're a pretty healthy team, which is a real positive for us coming out of camp. I'm excited about that, just got one goal, and that's to find a way to achieve our first goal. That's really what we're trying to go down to Atlanta and do. And certainly going to be a huge challenge. And playing a game like this is usually you only get opportunities like this in the postseason, in the playoffs, in the national championship. But this just happened to be on our schedule. So it's a great opportunity to play the best team in the country right out of the gate. And that's what they are. If anybody don't think they're the best team in the country, then they probably hadn't paid much attention. These guys are really, really good. Kirby has done a tremendous job down there, and they got a lot of guys back. Starting on the offensive side. I mean, they got a Heisman quarterback. He's a very, very good football player. They've lost 2 games in 3 years, and part of that is they're they're a very, very physical football team on both sides of the ball. So you got to be able to match that, and then by nature of scheme, you got to win competitive plays. I think that's a big thing in a game like this. But starting with our quarterback, he's just a very good player, and the kid he's accurate, he's opportunistic with his legs. He really understands their scheme. They do a great job in really, making you play assignment football with how they formation in motion and mix, the inside zone game with their toss game and their counter game, and multiple ways that they do that with the play actions and screens built into it, and you got dudes that can make plays down the field. But I think Carson is accurate. I think he's a great vertical thrower. So just puts a lot of pressure on you. And then offensive line, there's probably none better in the country. This is a really, really talented group, very experienced, and big, strong backs, a lot of skill on the edges. They got a couple guys returning that have had a lot of experience in production in 6 and 86 and 11. He's probably as fast a guy. We recruited him out of high school. He's probably as fast a guy as we're going to see. That guy can really, really stretch the field. And then they brought in a couple of guys. Obviously, Colby coming over from Miami. So, just a complete group on that side of the ball, and very experienced. And you know what you're getting. And over on the defensive side, same thing. Big, long, athletic, physical. Got pass rushers. They got some sub package stuff that they do, where they're going to get the best rushers on the field. You live in 3rd and long on these guys. It's a really a tall task. So, one of the best safeties you're going to see in the country. 24, great player. But again, 13, 97, 11. I mean, they got guys that can get after the passer, and they're Georgia. So they have a few new faces, but they all look the same. They all can run. They're all strong. They're all physical. Not a lot of room for error with these guys. And good kicker, punter, dangerous in the return game. So again, that's why they're the #1 team in the country, and you gotta play well right out of the gate to have a chance to win a game like this. So excited about it, looking forward to it, and we won't have to wait long. Be able to wake up Saturday and get right after it.
Coach, Georgia lost a lot of his offensive production to the NFL in Bowers and McConkey. Brought in a really good tight end from Stanford. You mentioned the receiver from Miami. What you know of their roster, how do you expect them to replace that offensive production?
Yeah, if you watched him last year, he's a great player. Another kid we recruited, number 4. He's made a bunch of plays for him last year. He'll and then they just added, the kid, the transfer. So I don't see any change. They really, really loaded it back. They brought in ETN. So, you know, he's a great football player. I know they got one kid that's out, but that kid from Mississippi, we recruited him too. So I got to meet him in person. That guy's he is. Go take a picture of him pregame. You wait till you see that guy. So I think the biggest thing is, you know, you obviously you gotta win your share of battles up front, and I think the competitive plays. But tackling is always at a premium. Openers are hard. Openers are always hard. I mean, you know, in college football especially. I don't think it's as hard in high school or the pros because you get preseason games and scrimmages where you get more live football, and you can kind of work out. You know, we don't get that in college. So, I mean, tackling is always at a premium, but against a bunch like this, by nature of who their blockers are and their backs, tackling will be critical in this game. So, you know, they lost some skill, but like I said, they got all kind of guys that are there and have already made plays for them, and a couple of new guys that maybe haven't made plays at Georgia yet, but they've made plays where they came from, or you know, heard some good reviews on a couple of the high school kids that have come in there as well.
Because it's been a long camp and you've had time to prepare, do you change your game week preparation schedule at all, or kind of let them get their legs under them, or is it no, this is our regular game week?
No, it's definitely, I mean, you try to create the game week routine this week, but it's different. It'll be a different week next week when you have, you know, truly have 5 days to get ready for a new opponent. You've had a lot of time to get ready for these guys, so yeah, you got to be smart in how you get them ready. Monday is similar. Tuesday, Wednesdays are tough practices, but you know, with this particular week, again, you have this type of emphasis and you get the things you need to get done, but not quite as long as practice would be next week when you're looking at the opponent for the first time with your guys.
Jaden Lucas and Shelton Lewis, what's their status going on?
Oh, everybody's right now ready to play. Everybody's good to go.
Shelton included?
Good to go until you hear otherwise. Everybody's day to day. Everybody's day to day.
I guess this is going to be a big few practices this week for the kicking competition. Is it still really tight?
Hoosier's going to be the kicker.
Okay.
He's won the job in camp.
You mentioned ETN, coach. His status is still kind of up in the air for the game, but how is he similar or different from his brother, from what you've seen of him?
He's you know, fast. He's explosive. He's I'd say more similar than not. You know, he breaks tackles. He's got speed. You know, probably a little thicker than maybe Trav was. You know, at that stage of his career, but. You know, they're both obviously great players.
What do you see from Hoosier to kind of win the competition?
More go through the upright than the other guy. You know, I mean, just that simple. I mean, it's not subjective. It's cut and dry. And so, you know, he just had, and again, you know, that could change next week, it could change in 2 weeks, but I mean, he clearly won the job. And it's not like it was tied. I mean, it was for a while, and then he separated. So he's done a great job, and he's earned the opportunity, you know, to start in this game.
Does he handle kickoffs?
Robert will be our kickoff guy. So they'll both play.
Is there anything different about him just in terms of his personality? I guess do you feel comfortable putting a true freshman out there to do that against the team?
I mean, I've played a lot of true freshmen. I've started true freshmen at every position on this team, I believe, at one point or another. So, you know, all you can do is go by what you see at practice. You know, he's earned the right to go do it. Doesn't matter if you're a true freshman or a fifth-year walk-on. You know, you can only go by what you see. So he's around right at 80+%, and has had a good camp. And you know, he's a confident kid. But you know, he's the all-time high school field goal leader. So he's made a bunch of them, and so it's the goal. It ain't no different. Just continue to do what he's done his whole life. This is what he's trained for. Obviously, you got a lot of stuff going around, but if you're going to be a great kicker, that stuff can't affect you. So we tried to create as much pressure on him as we can, and he's responded. He's been here since January, so he just got here. But we signed him to come in here and compete. And he's done that, and Robert has battled as well. But again, no one has come out on top to this point.
Is there an update on?
Are there any questions that you still have headed into this week that you hope get answered before game time on Saturday about your team?
No, I mean I know our team. I know our personnel. I know what our strengths are. I know where we we've got to be smart, if you will. So just want to go see us play. I mean, you got to go. Sooner or later, you got to get going so you can, no matter what happens in this game, there's a long season ahead, and you got to go play. You coach and you teach and you learn every single week, and that's what's fun once you get into the game week to start getting some results and you start getting some feedback on exactly where you are and what you got to do to get better, win or lose.
Is there an update on someone who separated themselves on that pack of running backs behind Phil Maffa?
No, I think same guys. They're all going to have an opportunity to play. It starts with Phil, and those other guys will get their opportunity as we go through the game and as we go through the season. And I think we'll to be determined as we go throughout the year. I think all those guys are going to help us. I really do. I don't foresee a situation where any of those guys don't get an opportunity to help us at some point. I really like what I've seen from all of our guys, but does somebody really separate? I think we've gone as far as we can go in practice. Now you got to get to game day and start stacking some days that way and see what happens. But it all starts with Maffa.
Anticipation for an opener like this, really any opener, but a game of this magnitude right out of the gate, builds all off season. Do you get a sense of a different buzz in the building this week now that it's finally game week?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, everything builds to this. I mean, you work all year. We get 12 Saturdays that we know, if Lord willing we don't have some catastrophe, we get 12 days that we know we get to play the game of football. So, I mean, you spend the rest of the year preparing, practicing, meeting, training, running, just competing against each other. So now you get a chance. It's finally here, one of those Saturdays. I mean, it's just, you just can't wait to get up and get to work. Like it's, if you're a football guy, this is what you've done your whole life, man. It's like, it never gets old. This is just, it's fun. It's fun when it's finally here, because there's so much that goes into it. Again, it's so different from all the other sports, right? Baseball, you play every day. Your practice is the game. Basketball, it's every few days, couple games a week. You move on quick. Football, man, you live with it for a week, and you only get 12 days and then whatever you get after that is what you've earned, through those 12 days. So, but even with that, if it's perfect, you get 16 days. So it's just not a lot, and so, man, everybody loves football in this country, and it's awesome to be a part of something that people are so passionate about and start thinking about all the way back in the spring. So just glad it's finally here and ready to get going, and excited to play, a great opponent. I mean, because I think we'll find out a lot in this game on where we are and what we got to do to move forward.
In Saturday's Florida State Georgia Tech game, you can see both quarterbacks putting their hands trying to hear. Have you figured out how much you'll use that in-helmet communication, and how will it help in certain parts of the game? When will you not use it?
Yeah, no, I think we'll use it every play. I mean, it's an advantage. There might be a few times where, you maybe signal something, but it really doesn't. To me, it's not as much an advantage to signal from the sideline. There may be a couple of tempo things where you're trying to really, really go that you'll use that, but pretty much every play. It's been good. I think it's great. Again, it's a long time coming. I'm not sure what took so long for it just like the tablets. I don't know what took so long for that to finally happen. You know, so it's great that we've got video technology on the sideline. That's really good. All the high schools have had it for years now, so we finally got that. But I think it's great because you can really alert your quarterback to some things, and you can have. It's been fun, you know, just going through that all through camp. You know, being able to, you know, when you get to play in, and you know, just eliminates a step of having to signal to get your stuff in, and then you know your quarterback can communicate it how we want. It adds another tempo. You can huddle a little bit more than maybe you have in the past if you're worried about signals and things like that, protecting your signals, and then you know, drive the tempo, you know, from there. But I think just situational awareness, alerts, you know, certain plays that you, maybe it's a pressure call that you're expecting pressure, but it's not a pressure. You know, some of your check plays that you have where you can communicate, and just, you know, little reminders to your quarterback. So I think it's great, and same thing on the defensive side.
Richmond Weaver, Tiger Tailgate Show, and Rich Take on Sports. How has the opportunity of all your coaches and analysts being able to actually coach, how has that changed how you're approaching, obviously fall camp and then heading into the season, how important it is?
Well, it's a game changer, and it's an equalizer, because I think a lot of that's been going on across the country anyway, and you know, so it kind of levels the playing field from that standpoint, so I think it's great. It's been a lot of fun. It's created you know, a lot of intensity, a lot of focus, just much more efficiency with your practice, and being able to, you know, whether it's your indie periods, your group work, your scout work, special teams, because everybody can coach, everybody can teach, and it creates so much more opportunity for guys to, you know, build their resume, start their coaching career, you know, legitimately, and you know, being able to, anybody can meet with anybody. I think another big benefit is going to be the development of your young players, because now, you know, it's not just the position coach that can sit down and meet guys and watch tape with them. Now, anybody, they can meet with them, watch tape with them. You know, when we do some of our all throughout practice, when we do some of our good on good periods, we can have scout on the other, because we got enough staff that can go coach and teach it. You know, where we can have, if we got team pass good on good, we can have our scout team pass, you know, where they're doing Clemson. They're you know, they're running Clemson's offense and defense, so they're developing, so they're getting reps. Because once you get on a 20-hour clock, you can't rep 3 groups. So you have to be very organized, very efficient in how you go about your practice. And so a lot of times during the season, those guys don't get, you know, a lot of reps, other than just their scout reps, but they're running other people's stuff. So being able to have a staff that can separate and just keep teaching and developing, I think that's great, you know, for the development of your young players. So there's a lot of benefits to it. It's been great for us. It's fun to see all these guys coach. You know, some of these guys, especially some of these guys that have been around here and just been waiting on the opportunity. It's great to see them be able to, you know, really insert their personality into our team.
How can guys like Lorenzo Ward, who's an older coach, or a John Gross, who's been ahead, how can they provide that?
Well, that's
quality?
another big change. You know, used to, you know, again, none of those people, they could all help game plan, but none of them could coach, you know, or they weren't supposed to coach on the field. They couldn't run meetings. They couldn't do any of that stuff. And the other big change is they couldn't be in the box. You were limited on who you could put in the box. You were limited on who you could put on the headset. You're very limited to that. You know, you couldn't put John Gross in the box. You couldn't put Whammy in the box, because they unless they were on, you could only put on the field coaches or your GAs or somebody that was within 7 years of graduating. You know, so you had these limitations on who could actually go in the box, where now that doesn't matter. So you can put, you know, some seasoned veterans in the box, and you can, you know, do it however you want, but you keep your full-time guys on the field to coach their guys. And you can have, you know, if you've got the right type of people that can go upstairs and give you the type of information that you need. So I think it's great. So what, like Whammy will be in the box for us. I mean, he's been a long time defensive coordinator. He can be on a headset. He couldn't have been on a headset, you know, if it wasn't for the rule change. Grouse will be in the box. Danny will be in the box. I mean, so, you know, we'll have some veteran people up top to go along with, you know, the other ones that we want to be up there. So it's great. It's a good change.
And I'm assuming you had the Beanie Bowl.
Yeah.
How did that work out? I mean,
Clemson won. Beat the Washington Generals again. All you old people, Harlem Globetrotters know that. Y'all get that. Do they still play the Washington Generals?
Yeah.
The Harlem Globetrotters? Okay, good.
how did that work out during the Beanie Bowl with everybody?
It's great. It's great. You know, and you know, it's why you do it. I mean, there's always things that you know, it's one of those things that you know, you get into it and it's like, it's so much just to do that. But it's so important because you have new people and there's always things that come up, you know, where, for example, okay, you go into your indie route, your pregame routine, and the managers weren't where they were supposed to be, and so you're coaching them. You got new managers and just ironing out some of the little kinks. And then it's the first time that you've been on the same sideline together since last year. You know, you know, so where do you sit? Where do you go? What's our sideline organization? What's our halftime procedure? Where the personnel, substitutions, special situations. You know, there's a lot going on. So actual subbing from the same sideline and having to react to situations. So it's why you do it. So there were some things that came up, but then also coaches, communication, true game day, everybody on their assignments. You know, that part of special teams. So it's really good. It's one of those things that's, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, it's just because it's a lot to put it together and to get ready for it, but it's so necessary, you know, to try to, you know, iron out some kinks. Again, you wish you had some preseason games, but that we don't.
Hey, Coach Noah Chast, ABC Columbia, also new here, so nice to meet you.
And Noah?
Noah, yeah.
Noah, nice to meet you.
Coach, no team, number one team has ever lost a preseason game since 1990. Is that a stat you use as motivation? Do you care about it? What do you make of that stat heading
Well,
into
I mean,
this
sure. I mean, heck, I was a sophomore. I was a redshirt sophomore, number 88 for the Tide in 1990. Woody McCorvey still had black hair, and just he had just come from Clemson to Tuscaloosa to be my position coach. Gene Stallings' first year at Alabama in 1990. That's a long time ago. So, yeah. I mean, I think it is what it is. The reason why. I mean, it's most of the time they might screw up a lot of them other ones, but most of the time everybody can figure out who the number one team is, you know, or, you know, coming out of the gate. We miss on a lot of the rest of them, but usually the number one team, it's maybe there's one or two teams that can vie for it, you know, out of the gate. So probably a pretty good stat, but definitely, yeah, it's a great opportunity to do something hadn't been done. Not that it's never been done, but it hadn't been done in 34 years. So great opportunity.
What's your assessment of Cade's confidence in himself heading into this week, and what do you need to see from him on the first couple of drives?
Yeah, I think he's very confident, and he goes against a bunch of good people in practice every day. I mean, it's not easy on our practice field. It's not.